Hello, welcome again to another episode of the Star Wars Vintage Collection action figure review. Today we'll be looking at the final character in the original 12 that Kenner released, and this is going to be Chewbacca. So as you can see, many different types of Chewbaccas, as you can also see. So we're going to start from this side. So we have the Vintage Collection, VOTC 2004 Chewbacca, which is the base for every single Chewbacca that has come out after. That figure was the base for all these figures that came after it. And the VOTC collection doesn't get a lot of love, but I think with Chewbacca, obviously they did a really great job, and it's plain to see that this character's been used throughout many different iterations of the character. So we're going to look at the first one, which is the early bird set that they came out with to emulate the original early bird set. This came out in 2005, a year after the Chewbacca from the VOTC collection. And I really like this Chewbacca. I mean, the cool thing about it is I can't really say much about the bodies. The body's the same. The articulation is great. The paint deco is great. We'll take a close look at some of those, but they're all the same exact figure. So there's really not much to talk about as far as articulation, but I'll go over a couple that I think are interesting. But this one, the thing I really like about it, this is the early bird Chewbacca that they came out with, the VOTC collection. And to be honest, those figures really weren't great. They did a Luke Skywalker with a telescoping lightsaber. They did a Princess Leia with a hood over her head firing a blaster with no articulation really, much like the original figures back from 77. And they made an R2, which was okay. But this one is the best one of the early bird pack that they did in 2005. I like it because the portrait of the face of him, he's not screaming or yelling or angry. He's just normal, Chewie at rest. And I really like it. I think it's a really interesting version of Chewie because you don't really see him too much as someone walking around not yelling or screaming. I mean, there's obviously in the films you see some of this, but this is one of the things I like about this figure. But let's take a look at, this is the actual VOTC figure Chewbacca. So this one is representing Chewbacca's look in Return of the Jedi. And as you can see on the card back from the VOTC collection, they use the Return of the Jedi card back. Now, I wish they would have used a different photo on the Return of the Jedi card back instead of using the one from A New Hope. But, you know, it is what it is. So they did come out with an alternate Chewbacca card near the end of the run in 1984 of the original run of the Kenner action figures. And it was pretty cool. It was like Chewbacca's with his hair down, kind of like this. And I like this one a lot. Yeah, they love the bowcaster. Chewbacca's head doesn't really turn much, but the body has a twisting torso. It's got really good articulation on the arms. I don't want to mess with that one because he's holding the bowcaster. It's got legs that you can really make him do some pretty cool moves. And of course, he's got his bandolero. I think with this figure, I guess this would be the what do you call it? Definitive version. I mean, they're all the same body. If I had to, nitpick, I think what makes this one not 100% definitive, but it is, I would say, is a definitive one. If they could do something with his joints on his hips, like give him some movement on his hips, I think that would make this figure perfect. But this is the definitive version because it's the only version they've been using since 2004. So this figure, the paint applications are great. I like how he's got the lighter fur in the front. He's got the dark brown and gray patches, and on his legs, he's got a little blonde underneath his feet, and his hand, the hair running down his arm looks cool. It's got a little lighter look to it. The paint applications are pretty good for this figure. Obviously, there's not really much you can do with it, but it's definitely a really great figure. Like I said, definitely a definitive version. I like this. Obviously, it's a definitive version for the Return of the Jedi version of him, but it's a cool figure. It's not bad at all. I think Chewbacca from Return of the Jedi, I always kind of liked that look of the like hair parted on the sides type of deal we had going on. So that's this one. This one is interesting. This is from the Black Series in 2015. Once again, they used the VOTC 2004 Chewbacca as the base of this figure. I remember this Black Series. I wasn't happy with the Black Series. I didn't like the way the card looked. It wasn't like these, homages to the original vintage. But there were some pretty cool figures that came out. And once again, this is just a simple repaint of the Chewbacca you just saw. He's got lighter, as you can see, he's got very light hair colors, lighter than the other ones for sure. Same exact thing, but this is the Black Series figure. Same articulation, same everything. He's got the growling portrait or face. It's not a bad figure. Once again, I like the paint on his head on this one. He's got a little bit of the blonde streaks running through his head, at the top of his head, which is pretty interesting. But it's pretty uniform too. It looks good, and the hair once again looks great. It's just weird. Like you look at the like his legs. You got one half of his leg is like this looks lazy here. One half of his leg is this color. The other half is that. I don't know. It just the paint applications, they just seem rather random in my opinion. But it's still a cool figure. Chewbacca's Chewbacca. He's good. And then the last one is the more recent one from 2019, and this is the one I like because I just love the card back, the classic A New Hope. And once again, it's the same image, but I always loved that Star Wars, title on the card. So this is my favorite card back for this figure. But once again, same thing. He's got a black bowcaster, which is, I guess, more screen accurate, with a black, strap. Once again, same exact figure. They made him a little darker looking, as you can see on the details on his legs, and as you can see on his back with the bandolier, and you can see on his shoulder he's got some darker paint applications. Similar face, the growling face, with the comb back hair, which is the one you see on the card back. So yeah, I mean it's definitely a good Chewbacca. Like I said, I think this is all definitive version of Chewbacca because they have slight variations, but they're all good. You're not going to make a better Chewbacca body, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean Chewbacca is pretty good. I think he's an actual interesting figure, and as you can see, I also love the card backs, both classic card backs. So yeah, I think that's going to be the end of this episode. So please wait for my next ones coming out soon. I'll be doing Wave 2 for the New Hope. See you then.